One of the left's big causes in the past several years has been so-called criminal justice reform. What does that mean exactly? Sounds like something you'd be for. Well, over the past few years, left-wing billionaire George Soros has spent about $13.4 million on district attorney races across the country in 17 states. He spent that money because it's an effective use of money. Without passing a single law, without the democratic process really working itself out, a single DA can completely remake or unmake a city's criminal justice system. It's happened across the country. One of Soros's biggest wins in recent years was the election of Larry Krasner as the district attorney in Philadelphia. So we went to Philadelphia to investigate the effect of Krasner's win on the city, and this is what we found. This is the scene outside the Philadelphia Cycle Center last winter. In broad daylight, 10 kids congregate outside the store. Then they climb up the back wall, smash the windows, dive into the building, and come out with a $10,000 dirt bike.
And how much time did they get for that?
Nothing. The victim, Vince Sanguinetti, lost thousands of dollars in stolen merchandise and even more in damage to his store. The burglar who rode off with the dirt bike was arrested, but Sanguinetti didn't get justice. Prosecutors went soft on the burglar. He didn't go to prison.
Big burglaries are usually, sad to say, more common than not anymore. Big burglaries are running about twice a month.
That's life in Philadelphia under the city's new prosecutor, Larry Krasner. Krasner is a left-wing activist who uses his position to undermine the existing legal system.
He views the system as corrupt and racist. And so his revenge on the system is that he is going to excuse lawlessness of all types.
Soon after taking office, Krasner issued a memo to his staff urging them not to enforce certain drug or prostitution laws and to defer gun cases. Even petty theft has almost been decriminalized. The consequences of all of this? Well, see for yourself. This footage of Philadelphia's Kensington neighborhood shows an open-air heroin market filled with drug dealers and addicts shooting up in public. The sidewalks are covered in trash. This photo shows a pile of used syringes just blocks from a city school. Krasner refused to comment on any of these policies. He rejected our offer for an interview. But publicly, he suggests that his approach allows his office to devote its limited resources to the most serious crimes, such as rape and murder.
The only thing he is prioritizing is lawlessness at all levels.
In fact, crime is surging in Philadelphia. In Krasner's first year as prosecutor, the homicide rate in the city rose 12%. It reached levels not seen in more than a decade. Gervais Ballard is one of those victims.
To see your son laying on a table, not moving at all, it was very emotional. And then to go to the funeral home to see your son laying in the casket, it was the worst. It was the worst thing that ever happened.
It was an easy case for prosecutors. The murder was caught on surveillance tape, and the killer confessed.
The shooter stuck the gun in the car and shot my son one time in the back, the left of his head, the back of his head. If you can't tell me that's not premeditated, I don't know what else to say about that. That was cold blood killing. They set my son up on video.
Despite having a confession, Krasner downgraded his sentence to third-degree murder. That's a charge usually reserved only for unintentional killings. Instead of getting life in prison, his son's murderer faces a minimum of just 17 years behind bars.
The suspect, now he's sitting back relaxing because he don't have a life sentence. He have an expiration date. He's going to get out soon, or 10 years from now, or 12, 13 years from now, and we got to walk around, he can walk around and relax while my son sits lay in the cemetery. That's not justice at all. That's not.
We're sad to tell you that the story you just heard, Gervais Ballard's story, is not unique at all. District Attorney Krasner has reduced charges for several other murder cases since taking office. Meanwhile, Democrats in Congress have been pushing hard for a national red flag law that would allow police to seize firearms from individuals who have not even been charged with a crime, much less convicted of one. It's not a good idea, but if you're going to pass a law like that, you might want to apply it to, say, gang members who are responsible for the overwhelming majority of gun murders in this country. But they don't want that. Congressman Ken Buck is a Republican from Colorado. He introduced an amendment that would apply a red flag to those gang members on databases. But the Democrats voted it down. Amazingly, Congressman Buck joins us. Congressman, thanks so much for coming on. So first, tell us why you introduced this. Why would you want a red flag law, if we pass one, to apply to gang members?
First, I don't want to pass one, but second,
Right, exactly.
if it passes, it should apply to the most dangerous people in America, the most dangerous people with guns in America. Over 80% of the murders in America with guns are committed by gang members. Over 90% of the crime in America is committed by gang members. If we aren't targeting gang members, we aren't serious about gun violence in America.
So you make that's why I'm so grateful you came on tonight. It's such a compelling and obvious point that you're making. How could anybody possibly be for a red flag law that doesn't apply to gang members?
Well, for one thing, I think the Democrats are trying to disarm rural America. And the second thing, I think that they aren't serious about gun violence. If they were serious, they would target these particular individuals. And third, they don't trust law enforcement to create a gang database that is fair. And their really hatred for law enforcement is evident in voting down this amendment.
But they trust law enforcement to go to the homes of law-abiding citizens and seize their firearms.
Absolutely. And in fact, we haven't heard anything about no-knock warrants. We haven't heard anything about the process that law enforcement can use to take law-abiding citizens' weapons away from them. But that's exactly what the Democrats want to do. And they will be pitting honest citizens against law enforcement. And law enforcement, in many instances, in my home county, they don't want to enforce these laws.
But they really got their hackles up when you suggested this would apply to gang members. It's almost as if they see gang members as a critical constituency.
I have to tell you, they certainly see urban America as a critical constituency, and there is much sympathy in urban America for some gang members. When you're a victim of crime, you don't have much sympathy for gang members, but
I think
these
that's
politicians
right.
do.
I think that's right, and I think there are a lot of people living in cities who probably need to have firearms at home to protect themselves.
Absolutely.
Real sympathy for them. Congressman, thank you for coming on, and thank you for raising that point because it just illustrated where they're coming from.
Thank you.